Hello and welcome to OffBlueMedical. Today we will discuss autosomal recessive diseases for the USMLE. So this is a list of the autosomal recessive diseases for the USMLE that you have to remember, and we will do an easy way to remember all of these. You just have to know some exceptions. So I will get started with the exceptions first. So here for sphingolipidoses, they are all autosomal recessive diseases except for Fabry disease. That's going to be X-linked. And for mucopolysaccharidosis, they are all autosomal recessive diseases except for Hunter syndrome. That is X-linked. And I will also give you an easy way to remember this again in a minute. So let's get started. So in the previous video, we discussed autosomal dominant diseases, and they were big or structural defects. In autosomal recessive diseases, the golden rule to remember these, and if you get stuck, you just have to remember that most of them are enzyme defects. So my easy way to remember the autosomal recessive diseases is to categorize them into categories, categorize the disease. So we will first get started with the storage diseases. First one is going to be the glycogen storage diseases. So here you cannot break down glycogen, it's going to be stored. For sphingolipidoses, you're going to store lipids. For mucopolysaccharidosis, you're going to store sugars. And for the exceptions, you just have to remember the word Fab Hunter. So how do you remember which ones aren't recessive? Just remember Fab Hunter, Fabry disease and Hunter syndrome. Both of these are going to be X-linked. Okay. For the heavy metals, you have two diseases, the Wilson disease and hemochromatosis. So Wilson disease is for copper and hemochromatosis is for iron. So how do you remember these? Think of heavy metals. So if you drop a piece of iron or copper in the water, what does it do? It's going to sink to the bottom. It doesn't float. It's going to recede. So both of these are going to be recessive because they go down in the water. So they are going to sink. So they are recessive. This group is going to be the blood brothers, which is the sickle cell disease and thalassemia. So these are basically defects in the blood. For sickle cell, think of the cells hiding and getting stuck in the vessels. So they aren't flowing freely. They are receding and they are clogging. They are not dominant, so they are recessive. And for thalassemia, you should think of the word thal, which means sea. So the sea is deep, and deep down, that's going to be recessive. So that's how you remember sickle cell disease and thalassemia. This group is the stuck organs. So cystic fibrosis, what happens here is you get thick mucus. It gets stuck in the lungs and pancreas. It cannot get out. So if it's stuck inside, it's recessive and it's not dominant. For Courtagener syndrome, this is primary ciliary dyskinesia, the cilia in your lungs, and sperm cannot move. If you are immobile and you cannot move, then that means you are not dominant, and that means you are recessive. For these last two groups, we have the visual ones, which are the oculocutaneous albinism and Friedreich ataxia. For oculocutaneous albinism, this is easy. Albinism is basically a lack of pigment. The color has receded or gone away. So it's scared, it's not dominant, so that means it's recessive. For Friedreich ataxia, ataxia basically means you're stumbling or falling, and if you are falling down, you go to the ground and you are not dominant, so you are recessive. And the last two ones are very easy. The first one is the autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease. So the dominant one happens in adults. So big adults are dominant, but the recessive one happens in babies. Babies are small, so this one is recessive. And phenylketonuria, this one is the classic one that everybody learns. That means there is no phenylalanine hydroxylase. So this one is going to be phenylketonuria, and it's autosomal recessive. So my golden rule is to remember that most of these are associated with missing enzymes or enzyme defects. So they are going to be autosomal recessive. If they are big or structural, then they are going to be autosomal dominant. So just to remember, if it's a storage issue, except the Fab Hunter or heavy metal or a stuck organ or a missing enzyme, it's probably going to be autosomal recessive. and good luck.